Hey guys, and welcome back to Castle Crush, and today we are going to be doing another rushing deck with the Wraith card, which I've not played with in quite a long time. In fact, I don't think I've done a Wraith video in probably more than a year even, but this is still a card that, I mean, it's kind of average-ish, but it's actually still pretty decent in certain decks, and rushing decks can be one of those. And of course, the big ability of the Wraith card is that it is immune to most spells, and that is very powerful indeed, and it makes for a really great rushing card because lots of people try to counter these types of decks with spells. You know, they'll try to counter them with arrows, Inferno, that type of thing, and the Wraith is immune to those cards, which makes it a very valuable card to be able to play. It can also work great in other types of, tank range card type decks. Anything that really revolves around that, it can work well with. And you'll see here, getting this Metamorph off of the Hollow Knight, I had two Wraiths, and this is a very easy looking start here for me. We'll see how this person handles it. There was at least one of these matches, I think, where the person actually fought back, but see, that was a good play by them to use the Gust of Wind, and I was trying to be patient here with the standard bearer because if I put everything in one lane, it makes it very easy to counter. And then, yeah, right there, I did a double little switch move on them, and that was too much. Right as they were trying to go for a Black Witch, and dodged the Black Witch. You will notice my trophies have not been very high recently. That's because I've not been really grinding in the season, and season after season has kind of pushed me down because I've mostly only been playing matches for videos and a few other matches here and there, but I haven't been grinding them like I was at the end of the summer, mostly just because, I don't know, it takes a while to do, and it's not very particularly useful. So you can see right here, the Hollow Knight is getting taken down there, and I was concerned about that because it gives them a lot of power there in that bottom lane. So I was losing this match, I thought, but then the middle lane was interesting. I had a stronger Hollow Knight by level, but they healed theirs, so now they turned around both of them. And this is not looking very good at all, and I'm reasonably sure they win this match. In fact, I'm pretty sure they do win this match, although it ends up being kind of close here in the... Oh, do they? I don't know. This is close, and... wow, we managed to get it there in the end. I mean, being able to block any hits you can against an Unchained Demon is huge because the Unchained Demon is just, you know, it's doing all the damage basically. So any hits you can block can be big time. And right there, I did not even think I was going to win that match. Just like literally commentating on it, I did not think I was going to win that match. But I got very lucky. And starting this match with 3 Wraiths, but they already have a Reaper down with protection, which is extremely dangerous. So I'm just trying to work on that lane with anything I can. I want to keep it off of my castle. And luckily I was able to somehow get the Reaper right there with the Vampire. And now I do have the DPS advantage. And that is game over, but that was a close one just because of the Reaper. It's a very dangerous card out there, especially with protection on it. The Vampire is a very powerful card to be able to get out near the start of these matches, but I do have to get her close to their castle, and that's really the big sort of trick with the Vampire. So I can't really play her right at the start. I kind of have to play things out a bit and get closer to the castle. Otherwise, she will simply lose health, since I'm not running Angel, that is. And right there, I was able to use it as a counter, try to use it as a counter to their Shaman. And then I was able to Metamorph it against that Demon. Didn't quite work out, but I actually did a decent job of getting rid of some of their stuff here. This is probably not the best trade there with the Wraith and the Shaman, but they have this Demon, and that was my biggest concern here suddenly, because I wasn't really sure if they were going to try and Metamorph it or something. In the end, they weren't, and the Ice Elemental kind of took care of it pretty good. But they get 2 8 Pirates out there while I'm having to deal with it, and 8 Pirates are pretty annoying. And then somehow I misplayed that, and the Wraith actually got taken out. So suddenly the middle lane looks pretty bad, actually. That is not a good look there in the middle lane, and yeah, they have good control there in several lanes. I was trying my best to fight back. I barely saved that Hollow Knight, otherwise that would have been really, really bad. And I was getting close here, trying to catch up in terms of the damage on their castle. Catching up, but I didn't really have any good way to necessarily get rid of their stacks. And you can see here now things are starting to flip, and I'm trying to pull this back together, but those meteors are really rough. The meteors are a great counter to rushing decks, and it really showed up here in this match in particular. And now you can see they basically have me done for. I gave them a nice little push, and unfortunately, once they had the meteors and the dragons going, I didn't really have much of a chance. Even the Executioner is a strong play for them, because oftentimes with a rushing deck, things are stacked up quite a lot, and the Executioner is very good at reducing lots of stacked up troops like that. So this match here, just trying to get something in front of the Wraith at the start, and it actually was working pretty well. And just metamorphing that Golem was huge, because it gave me so much extra HP to tank with that I otherwise don't really have in this deck. So they play their whole stack in the middle lane, and I put the Ice Elemental there, and I was unfortunately just too late to get the Reaper, but I was able to get it with the Jester, which was huge, because the Reaper with the Rage played would have destroyed me. So then I come in there with the Vampire. The Vampire is always great for countering stuff like the Storm Elemental they had right there. And it was pretty clutch too, but unfortunately that Hollow Knight took a lot of damage. And then the Jester, again, pretty good for the Reaper. This was a dangerous deck. My opponent had a pretty dangerous deck right there. I just happened to have the exact cards I needed in order to counter it, and I was pretty lucky, because a lot of other people would have gotten totally wrecked by that deck, because they had Catapult, Reaper, Storm Elemental, some pretty difficult cards to deal with, especially at that point in the match. So I was thankful to get out of that one. The Metamorph is a pretty great card to have at the start of the game, honestly, because it can work with your cards, and it can also work with your opponent's cards. So that's pretty powerful as an ability just to be able to have right there, and being able to get that Angel out there, even though I don't even have an Angel in this deck, was really good, because that's a powerful card to put in this stack. Honestly, it almost makes me think maybe I should have put an Angel in this deck, but being able to Metamorph it is even better. And taking out that Storm Elemental very quickly here, or attempting to. We didn't quite get it, actually, but this was the biggest play by far, I think, almost, was catching that entire middle lane, including the Angels, which are usually at range, with the Ice Elemental, and I actually didn't get the Phoenix, but I did get the Angels, which was actually pretty important, because that stack would be very, very difficult to deal with without the Angels, but I'm still working on their castle here, trying to just focus on their castle, because I do have a damage advantage, a hit point advantage here, and I was trying to press that as much as I possibly could, and it ends up paying off. They were catching up, probably because of the Storm Elemental growing, but I was still able to do what I needed to do. Pretty nice win there. So let's take a look at this match here. Overall, I thought this deck was pretty good, but the problem with the Wraith is usually that she costs a little bit too much mana for a card that's really, really thin, doesn't have much health, and can be taken out very quickly if a card actually gets on her. So right here with the Unchained Demon, I have literally the right card here with the Vampire. That's exactly what I have the Vampire in this deck for. As well as to deal with Hollow Knights and the situation right there that happened in the bottom lane, getting the Hollow Knight turned and then instantly being able to turn it back around with a Vampire. The good thing about the Wraith is that she does decent damage, but her really only particularly good ability is like her invulnerability to arrows and Inferno. That's definitely what makes her a decent card. Minus that ability, she's kind of just not really that great. Now, that's a questionable thing I did right there. I probably could have turned around all those Hollow Knights. I think I just thought I was so close to winning, and it worked out. You know, I just thought I could juke them out a little bit, and one went away from a victory chest. So, Jester, I mean, for a while, the Jester wasn't quite as popular in a lot of decks, I mean, but I think that the Jester has a lot of value, actually, in particular as a counter to Reaper. I mean, it's a huge counter to the Reaper, in my opinion. Maybe not the best, but it's pretty good, actually, for what it is, and for the mana cost of it. And here, I've already got pretty good control in this match. You can see they were trying to rush a little bit with some skeletons. I tried to Metamorph because I thought I had like a 50-50 chance of getting something. And then they try to go with the Dark Angel, and the Dark Angel just gets destroyed. And they did a decent amount of damage to me, but it doesn't really matter if they can't maintain board control. So right here, I thought it was a good chance to get something with the Metamorph, and I got the Spectre. It's a small Spectre, but in this type of a match, it's pretty good. And I was trying to think what I should do here with the standard bearer. I ended up passing on it initially because I thought here I could use the Wraith to clear the Hollow Knight, and that's what I ended up doing, kind of, but this is an interesting match just because they seem to be kind of turning it around almost, and then they flip the Hollow Knight, and I decided to try and just go around them. You know, I have a bunch of standard bearers, so I'm like, why not? We can try to just go around them, but they have a serious stack going, so it's like I will have to be extremely quick there, and luckily I was able to do it. And we got promoted to Grandmaster League. Obviously, I've been here before, but anyways, still kind of nice to push a few trophies. So that is going to conclude this video. Hope you guys enjoyed seeing some Wraith rushing again. Not a strategy you see that often. The Wraith isn't the best rushing card, but she is pretty decent in a rushing deck, especially because of, again, her invulnerability to arrows and Inferno, which are good, normally good rushing counters. So leave a like if you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about this video in the comments and what other types of content I should create. Maybe subscribe if you are new to my channel. And thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for more videos.